Hey, what's up, guys? I decided to make another video. Like the last one, I'm just going to be talking about what I watched. This being Angel Heart, not like a whole list. Um, I just I just finished it. I watched it like over a span of like 2 days. Absolutely binged it, 50 episodes, so lots of watching. Um, I just finished City Hunter. I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago, and it's become one of my favorite animes. I don't know if it is my favorite anime of all time, but it's up there. I love the characters. I love the comedy. I love when it's serious. The voice acting is great. Um, but this is I guess non-canon spin-off sequel type of thing, and it was honestly one of the hardest things for me to watch personally. Not because it's bad, nothing like that, but emotion wise. I don't get emotional like super, often watching stuff. But this show, like, hit me in a way nothing else has done. Um, at least at the top of my head, I've like cried at points, but never, to like constantly kind of like having emotions about this. The show, and it's absolutely like great. I love it. I'm very glad it's not canon, but it has the same characters, and they do change like backstories a little bit and stuff like that. So it's not completely, but they're the same characters. Like, yeah, they have some different stuff, but they're the same. So to see these characters, you really care about, like, to go through the things that they go through, especially Rio. You know, for Kaori to die like that on the wedding day is absolutely fucking foul. Like, that shit is disgusting. You did not need to do that at all. So I'm not happy about that. Um, it to see like what you've really wanted, in City Hunter, like, oh, they finally get together, and then have that kind of just taken away. Like, it it was crazy, and just how they did it, like, it hurt, and the show like just keeps going with that. You think you can move on, but she's such an integral part. Which I'm not saying she shouldn't have been. She absolutely, she's a great character. I just wish there could have been another way, like, to tell this story and keep both of them alive. Um, but it's it's how the author wanted to tell it, which it's the same author, City Hunter. So I kind of that's nothing I've ever seen before where they do something like that. I mean, maybe it's done. I don't know, but I haven't seen it. But so I'll get into it now. I got into it a little bit. Um, yeah. So with Corey, that was the part that really hurt me the most, and just seeing Rio and how kind of broken he is. Um, and he has his friends, and there's a few characters from City Hunter, Umibozu and Psycho. None of not her sister, or no, that's actually it, 'cause they have Miki in there, and that's one of the things they changed, which I actually kind of like that. But yeah, you just see him, and yeah, like I said, it's what you wanted, and to see, and she dies in his arms, and then they introduce this new character, exact Zhang Yang. I'm just gonna call her, I guess, Yang, or Glass Heart, whatever. Um, and I absolutely love this character. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, I prefer, you know, I prefer her over, Kaori, and I wish, I don't know, like, but in the story, they both, couldn't have lived. I'm sorry, I have to be Kaori with that one, but um, I absolutely loved her as well. But just to see that, and then see she's talking to Corey, and she's still alive. I mean, I know that it's anime, so it's gonna be like you have to take it at that. I don't really want to take it as like, oh, it's just her having her memories, so she's getting her mannerisms and stuff. No, that is her. She's there, and everyone knows that. Um, I absolutely love this stuff. I went into this without any knowledge. I read a short synopsis saying that Corey died, and an assassin who tried to kill herself got her heart. That's all I knew. and she wanted to find Rio. That's absolutely all I knew. Um, so going in there, if you people have watched this, I don't even know, but I guess if you haven't, just go in blind. I already been talking about it, so I don't even know why I'm mentioning that. But it was, it was something. But yeah, so to see that, and then the opening was great. The first part opening was like my favorite of the whole series. Not City Hunter, but just this show. Was absolutely great. The opening song. I mean, it's really sad. That's like all the songs in the show, because the show is sad. Like truthfully, they have funny moments, like a few where I laughed out loud, but a lot of it is just kind of, it's sad, and it's, hard to watch because you care about these characters, especially, as I keep saying, especially Rio. You watch this guy, and as soon as he's about to get, happiness, like what he deserves that. How many people has he helped, saved? Yes, he's done bad things, but it's like he deserved that, and to have that just taken away, terrible, terrible. So, but you just constantly, see his pain throughout the show. So I had no idea what was going on with that. So the assassin, who I exactly Glassheart. I'm sorry, I literally have her name written down so I could remember it, because I have trouble remembering this when I'm recording stuff, and I messed up. So anyway, so yeah, so I love their relationship in the show. Absolutely great. The father daughter thing saves. Like, I love this show for that, because you give, Rio something else. And while I wish that it could have been like somehow they were all together, as all of them alive, and it's constantly like there's still that undertone of like sadness every time, because but their relationship is so great, and Gory, like, still being there, and talking and stuff. It was great. I just felt like in the show, it was really annoying how. Now I could be like, off on this, but when I was watching it, she'd show up, and she'd talk, and they'd change, her voice from, the to Corey, and her face and everything, and she talked to all these people. Like, she talks to Yan, Fan Wei, and she talks to her, but Rio, they never really talk, like have an open conversation where, in the beginning, when he first meets her, it's like, oh, like, yeah, this is what she wanted to say, like, oh, I'm so happy to see you, but it's still her saying that, like, her, not Corey's voice actress, and that kind of frustrated me, where she'd constantly, she'd appear, and then it's like she'd be doing something else, and it's like not a word, and he can tell, and I just kind of wanted to have a conversation, like, because I feel like they should have had one, but I guess, I don't know exactly what he's supposed to do, like just let that go, but I don't know, but and then they did the flashbacks, like redoing some of the origin and everything, and some of the things I absolutely loved. Her, Corey giving him the name Rio Saiba, I love that. Great, instead of the original show where it's like, oh, he that was his first name, I believe, and then he said he couldn't remember his last name, so Saiba. And they kept him being a soldier and a mercenary type thing. I forget exactly, but something like that, and him fighting for his life since he was a child and everything, and they fit that with Glassheart exactly, and I love that. That was a great parallel, where he was like, they made him the exact same as he was, as she was in the beginning, and I love that parallel to show where he went, and where he's I guess still going, but how he used to be just this cold guy, and they talk about that, how the city helped him, and how he gave him like his humanity back. He's human again, instead of just a killing machine. And Corey, like in this show, with how they met was great. With them being injured in a hospital, and she's a nurse, um, and she talks to him about how don't die. You think nobody cares about you, but if you die, I will grieve for you. And that was great. And and he gets that moment of rest, or like where he's like, I can finally rest, thank you. And you know, that was really good. And once again, just adding these extra like elements of, you know, their relationship that wasn't there before, like origins wise, you know, they're still the same characters and they still do, you know, they both love each other. They made that clear in the original show. um, but yeah, so to do that was really hard to watch, you know, especially, you know, how it goes. And you know, he's alone, like he's alone. He has his daughter, but I don't know. It's really sad. Like I keep thinking about it as like, you know, yeah, she's there, but it's like he can't be with her anymore. Like she's you know, that's his daughter now. You know, not like that, but just in general, like, you know, she's her own person besides her. Like she's just a part of her. And I'm not saying like, oh, she should have. I don't know. I just kind of thought they might have done something with that, like where it would have been like, oh, she kind of takes over or something. Not like in an evil way, just kind of like, oh, maybe that girl kills herself. It's like, you know, that movie. I don't know if it's like that movie, but it's like, you know, Colors, where the guy kills himself and then they put him in another body to show him like what it was like. Good movie, but anyway, continuing on. So I thought it was gonna be like that. I'm glad with what they did, but it was just kind of like, you know, they keep bringing this up and it's like, you know, like how, you know, she's still here and I'm, you know, and I'm not saying like she should, you know, shouldn't have come back or anything. I absolutely love that, but they kind of keep talking like they're still together in a sense of like, you know, I don't know if they even do that. I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here, but you know, where he can't move on, and I don't even know like if I really, you know, it's like they were meant to be together. Like that's it. You know, he's had his other, you know, that one woman he loved in that movie, Death of Vicious Criminal Rio Saiba. But you know, there it was always him and her, and that's how, you know, it was supposed to be before it was cut short. So I don't really see him. Like I guess he could have got with Psycho. Like they kind of, you know, they don't really tease that much. It's kind of cooled off. That's another thing they cooled off with Mokori, which I appreciate. You know, in the original show it's still funny, but it's like in this show it doesn't quite fit as well, and they still do it, so it's not completely gone. But you know, you just see that like he's changed. Like he's not, you know, he's not going around doing all that anymore. And he's kind of just, you know, messing around at this point, which he did before, you know, that, but like more like literally just messing around, like doesn't care or whatever. Um, you know, and you know, for his daughter or to show up in his life like that. And I really like how they do that, where it's like, oh, you know, she is his daughter, and they consider her, you know, she considers him her father and calls him that. Because in these shows, you know, they never do that. They're like these father figures, and they never do that. Call them by that. You know, their name, like you are my dad type thing. Like they never call like Rio, like they she calls him Rio Papa and stuff like that. And I like that. I like that a lot. And you know, he takes to the role really well, and you know, they show him being a very good father, and you know, trying to change. You know, they even say that like about how, you know, he's less once again like about Mokori and stuff, and he's more like he's always there for, you know, his daughter. And you know, I really enjoyed that, as I said. So that was great. Um, the other characters I really liked was Lin Xing Hong. Lin Xing Hong. I don't know. I'm terrible at speaking in general. You know, the kind of love interest for Glassheart. I liked them together. Great. They didn't, you know, it wasn't too much there, but you know, it seemed like they would get together eventually. I really loved the moment where you know, he's talking about, you know, oh, I can't, you know, I don't deserve to be with her, but I'll work to be there. Like, Corey, can I please, like, you know, do I have your blessing? And she gives it to him, like, you know, through the pedal in the coffee cup. I really like that. So that was great. A moment that really, you know, hit home for me was I'm watching this show and I'm, you know, I'm binge watching it like I said, and there are, you know, ups and downs where I'm like, okay, well, I think the emotions kind of not gone, but it's like I'm not gonna, you know, cry kind of thing. And then something will happen that just kind of does that, and you see like, you know, Rio's pain, and it just all comes back. And an example that I, you know, really like is, I don't know if I even mentioned this in this video. I don't think so, but if I did, please, I'm so sorry, but I cannot edit this out. Where, you know, the last episode, I thought, oh, it's gonna be a mid one, like, you know, oh, they're going to a wedding. Okay, she knows her. Corey knows her. I was kind of like, why doesn't Rio know? Like, why, like kept this whole thing secret? It felt really weird, like that was a secret. And then, they're at the wedding, and like I said, how Corey doesn't talk to her. Like, she talks to the wedding chick, like, where she's like, oh, you still have my ring. But she doesn't talk to Rio. And I think they should have talked at that moment at the end where he's, at the wedding, and he's literally like, everyone's like, oh, why is he looking so serious? And he's thinking about how, Corey never got to wear that wedding dress. And, like, are you sad that you didn't get to wear that wedding dress because I was, indecisive, and I, should have made my decision sooner. And, just that, once again, like, that pain, that shit really, like, just watching that really hurts. And then, he goes outside, and he reveals that he had a wedding ring that he didn't give her, and he was going to give it to her that day, and he was carrying it along the whole time, and so he gives it to his daughter. And Corey's like, she's so happy, and she says that, I think. And but once again, like, they should have had a conversation at the point where she's like, it's okay, like, you did the best you could. Because if you watch even the original City Hunter, it's clear that, like, he has problems committing. Not to really, he cares about people, but, like, he can't say that because of what he's been through. He has a lot of trouble doing that. So just for that moment, for her to kind of console him and be like, you're okay, like, it's okay, you know, I love you. That stuff didn't matter. Um, stuff like that would have been great. And then it kind of ends off like that, which there's not a second season, which sucks. But I would have loved to see that continue because it was a great show. It could stand on its own 2 feet. City Hunter was a big part of it, but in general, like, just kind of the characters were still there, and so that was great. But yeah, just that was kind of the main problem. I also didn't like how they made Makimura City Hunter, the first one. I do like the reasoning of, like, that's why he became City Hunter to stop, did not make Gory cry. I like that one. So that's what I mean. Like, they keep interweaving their origins more together. And in some parts, I really do like that, where it's like, I like them connecting. Like, I love them knowing Makimura, like, them both, him knowing both of them. I feel like that was a missed opportunity in City Hunter, because he only knew, both of them for one episode. And, they're not together for most of that episode. It's like maybe 3 minutes, something like that. Except for the episode where she first appears, where, Makimura asks him to find her. And so yeah, so that was interesting. I really liked that they kept weaving that. But then again, it kept making it more sad, as I was saying. So, but with him being City Hunter, I just wasn't the biggest fan of that. Um, but they ended up working it out, and I kind of like they are making it like the mantle kind of thing, where they did touch on that, like, at the last season of City Hunter, I think, where they kind of talk about how, like, they're both City Hunter. And at first, I kind of thought of it as, like, We Are the Flash type shit. But it eventually is like, yeah, it's a mantle, and she did deserve it. She's done a lot, and you know, she he needed her, and she helped him with all these cases, and she was a person who really cared and helped him kind of you know open up more, and so it completely fits. And I do like that out to Mantle. I just didn't like how he wasn't the first one. Uh, so that's about it. I did like how they showed, though, how it would end up fitting with the original series. So I mean, I guess this might work if they wanted to do it that way. Actually, no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't, because they show him meeting Makimura, and he already, like, does the work. So never mind. But yeah, so that wouldn't have fit. But I do like how it ends up, like, fitting with City Hunter, where it's like, oh, okay, well, he'll just accept the jobs and do all this stuff like he did in the OG show. So that fits. She's stuttering here like Porky Pig. Um, so I really, like, my thoughts are kind of all over the place. I had a whole bunch of things I wanted to talk about. I already recorded this video before, but I had to cut it, delete it, because I was just having trouble with the names and stuff. It was kind of incoherent, but I talked about it I think a bit more. So I really enjoyed this show. Like I said, it really hurt me in a way like a show has never done, and I wish I could know how the story ends. I'm not sure if the manga is in English, like what I'm supposed to do for that. But you know, I want to know like how the story continues and like you know, does Rio move on? You know, does he get to be happy? I mean, he is. They show that where he's happy, and he's like he's living for his daughter now, which they say I really like that episode where they're like where Corey's like, if you tell him you need him, like you need he'll be there, like he'll be there for you, or he'll live for you or something like that. And that girl, you know, Maki's I guess kind of they're looking for Maki because she's the prince's daughter, king's daughter, whatever. That was pretty interesting. That was pretty interesting how they redid Miki. I didn't really talk about that. How they redid Miki to be an actual child. I was watching the show and I'm like, wow, why isn't Miki there? Like he owns the cafe and everything. And I'm like, okay, well this is a change for sure. And at first I thought like she was just gone. I'm like, well, what is this? So, I was a little like, oh, I wonder if something happened with the voice actors. A lot of times now, like when something happens, I always think there's a problem behind the scenes because it's like, sometimes there is. It just feels like that. So I really like what they did with that. How Miki is now like a child and he's taking care of her, which he did in the OG show, but she wasn't. I don't think that young exactly, or because there was more of a romantic kind of thing between those two in that one, and this one it's more like father again. Well, I guess uncle kind of thing. So that was pretty nice. It seemed like they were doing that like a little bit too much though, like the whole father daughter thing, like with different characters. I want to talk about one arc that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and that was the arc, with the other assassin from who loved Sin Hong, number 36. I don't know, something like that. 39. I forget his number, but and they basically do the same exact thing as they did in for the main characters, and I didn't like that. Like I felt like it completely undermined it. Where they're like, we're the same. It's like, yeah, they're exactly the same. Like it's too much. Like it was too much. Where she tried to kill herself, and he the guy saved her, and he had a daughter who died, and it really I felt like it really undermined the original plot, where it's like this should be something special, where they're it's a one-time thing. It just felt like they were exactly the same, except that she did get a heart transplant. She just looked like her daughter, and he saved her and everything. It was just way too similar, and it really did rub me the wrong way of like, why are you doing this? um I don't know. Let me think about like what you think about that, because I'd like to hear other people's opinions, but I just felt like that was way too close to that. A lot of these cases in the show was pretty good. I really like the brothers one, now that I think about it. The where the brother asks him to kill him and the other brother. I love that. I love that a lot, and that was great, great. And I also like at the end of the show they show all the people that they helped. I did like that as well. Um, oh, and like the last arc before the last episode, where they're trying to change fate, to stop that guy from being murdered, uh, you know, with his pregnant wife or whatever, so she doesn't have to be alone with the sight, clairvoyant. That's what they call her. That was a really good one. I enjoyed that. Also, I didn't mention this, but I mentioned it in my original video that I deleted. It's really weird how they edit some of these episodes. Um, how like like the plot will end in the middle of the episode, like kind of like the climax kind of thing, and then it's like either just wrapping up or they do something else. It just felt really weird. One that really sticks to mind is kind of I don't know if this is the right one I should be talking about, but the girl who last heart killed her father, who turned out to be that the Mad Dog bomber. I remember that one. Mad Dog Palmer from which was he was in I believe was it the $1 Million Conspiracy? No, it wasn't the $1 Million Conspiracy, but he was in one of the movies. I like that. I like how they brought a character from that where I was like, oh, okay, I know him. A lot of these characters, like, they really didn't bring back except for the main one. Like, there was not one villain that they brought back. I mean, I know, like, in the show, they didn't bring him back either, like, in City Hunter, because he'd always, like, kill the real serious ones, so. But that was pretty good. Um, it just, yeah, so that was a good one. But that just also ended, like in the middle, and I was like, I remember this was actually pretty funny. I was like watching it, and they were towards like the end, and I'm like, okay, well, I think they're gonna wrap this up here. And then I was like, the guy pulls a gun on the girl, and the daughter of the guy, the Mad Bomber, and and then I'm like, what if it ended there? And then it did. I was like, okay, because it really felt like it was about to be wrapped up, where everything was kind of getting settled. I also felt that Rio kind of like there wasn't as much like with him as like action wise. He does not do that much action wise, and I feel like that's a little bit of a disservice. Where I feel like I wish he kind of took the reins a little bit more. I know it's like I feel like it's supposed to be mostly Glassheart's kind of story, but they're co-leads. But I feel like there are some cases where it's like he should have done more in there, where they solve it, and it's like she does everything, and he doesn't even really do anything. Um, which I like that in the moment, where he's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you for doing this for yourself," and that made sense. Like especially the one with the guy with the daughter, the dad he killed or whatever. So that felt good. That was like, yeah, I understand that, and that should have been her 100%. That one should have been her. But there's other ones where it's like I wish she did more. Especially the one I'm thinking of is the psychic one. I know that was mainly Lynn's Lynn's in Hong, what you know that was kind of mostly his plot, not mostly, but a good part. But it just felt like he wasn't there, and he's like and I thought he's gonna run up. Like how in Dragon Ball Z they have Goku, like they're like, oh, Goku's coming. I'm thinking especially of Namek, and they don't do that with Cyber. They're not like he's coming, but he's coming because he was like running before. And then I'm like, okay, well I think he's gonna be the one to come up and solve this, and then he doesn't. And I was like, wow, okay, that just feels a little anticlimactic with that. So I wish he did a little bit more active, you know, in the cases just taking it. He is still City Hunter, and he does help, and he's not completely he does help. He's important, but he's not the one who takes these guys out a lot of the time. Um, I don't even think he doesn't. I was a little confused by this actually. Uh, when they do the flashback with a really good episode. This was a really good arc actually, where they bring in Corey's sister, which they did in the original show. But she didn't know he was her sister because she didn't know she was adopted. Which they removed that for this, which I thought was kind of interesting. I actually thought that was really different, and how you know she knew that, and I don't know if I think he knew she knew that or something. He was worried that she was gonna leave him or whatever. He found out it wasn't really blood related, something along those lines. But I thought that was interesting how they did that, like where she knew, and it's implied in the other show she knew as well, but not as much as this. So I really like the idea of like the sister coming in and it's too late, and Corey's gone, and that's when they show all those flashbacks and stuff. But with Rio and how she says to him like you didn't save her, like you should have done it. That was hard. That was hard to watch. Um, and she never really like kind of takes that back. Like she's like, oh, take care of this girl, take care of Corey's daughter. Um, but her with that was great. Oh, so the confused part. They show, she's like, let me interview people who know her, and they bring her to that bartender, and he makes her that drink, and he tells her about how Corey like stopped City Hunter from kind of killing her, and also like gave him a second chance, and how she's put her life on the line for that other guy. I don't even think he had a name, um, and I did and she's like, "You promised you'd stop killing people." I don't know if he did that in the. I know he didn't do that in this show. Like he didn't like keep that promise. I don't know like if something happened before that, but I'm like very certain she said, like you promised you wouldn't kill people anymore. But he kills that guy in the first arc where after everything's settled, they're going to kill the traitor of the group. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it. Uh, and he assassinates him before those guys are able to do it, and it's so nobody else dies. But he still killed that guy. Like that guy's dead. I don't think he really kills anyone else in the show, to my recollection. He might, but there's not too much, you know, insane kind of fights like that. There was, in the first arc, there was that one. That one was pretty good, with where they're fighting, the mercenaries and not mercenaries, but the soldiers. Um, you know, that was really good. That was some good action. Although the point like towards the end where it's like Rio's like in a gunfight with Umibozu, not with him, but teaming up with him because they have fought each other a few times. Um, and it's like they're in a gunfight for like fucking like 10 minutes, like or like something. And I know like she's talking to Zen Hong, whatever. I'm having trouble. Um, so I got that, but yeah. So anyway, I gotta kind of wrap this up. So but I just thought that was a little weak. How like he was doing that whole time, and then they kill them all like the assassins. That was kind of weak in my opinion as well. Um, I don't know if I was also too big of a fan of Glass Heart's dad, like her real blood dad, being there. I was worried they were gonna kind of reveal that because I feel like for all I know that this is true in real life where basically Rio is her real father. She considers him that. He considers her like his real daughter. You know, she's the only part of Corey that's still around, and it is like kind of a mix of both of them. And well, I mean, it exactly is like with her being an assassin and stuff like that. But anyway, so I'm just gonna basically end this off. I know I'm all over the place, but I'm not very, you know, I'm not great at speaking completely about these things. So also not good at typing, so not good at much. But yeah. So enjoy the show. Hurt my feelings. Upset. No resolution. I am sad. That is about it. Peace.